Yeah, certainly. Just kind of wanted to update everybody on not only Zhaire but our five seniors. Really proud of each guy and their journey and what lies ahead, and super excited for them. Obviously, with Zhaire, just it's just cool being in the green room. I remember the first time I started recruiting Z, we talked openly about my belief that he could be an NBA player, not only because of the obvious athleticism, but just because of the character and the work ethic and how he was raised and really what he was willing to do to get what he wanted. I've never coached a guy with a better work ethic. I've coached some guys with the same type work ethic, Keenan Evans being at the top of that list, but Z was, just a little different. He's elite. Um, Above all, Z deserves the credit. The story of Z and his workouts started long before he got to Texas Tech. He was dedicated as a junior high player in high school. The stories were legendary. Spending some time with his dad, Billy, and mom, Andrea, in New Jersey just reminded me of some of the stories I already knew. But, Z was a guy that his dad would have to beg him to go to the high school football game on Friday and get out and be social because all Z wanted to do was be in the gym. The other story was he really didn't want to go to prom that weekend when he's a senior because he wanted to get in the gym. So his love of basketball and his obsession to be the best started long before he got here. But when he got here, I think that our program helped him take it to the next level. And where the story is all Z and he deserves the credit, I think it does validate our program here. I'm really proud of our strength coach, our trainer, our GAs, our assistants, just everybody that helped Z become the kind of player that we all knew he would be, but so quickly in 1 year. Being in that draft night, it was also kind of bittersweet. I don't hide away from this, my feelings of Keenan Evans. Personally, I think a lot of NBA teams made a mistake not drafting him, and I think sooner than later people will learn of that mistake. I believe Keenan Evans is an NBA player. In my personal opinion, if he doesn't break his toe, he's Big 12 Player of the Year. We make a run maybe even farther than the Elite Eight, but this is kind of how life goes. And we talk to our players all the time about overcoming adversity, about being mentally tough, and Keenan's just a living witness of that. But Keenan's doing fine. I think he's continuing to rehab. His toe's almost healed now. He's going to be a part of the summer NBA process with Golden State, and he should be back on the court in August, September, and depending on how he plays in open gyms, situations, I think he'll be on a roster opening day of the NBA. So I think the story for Keenan is just starting. I was talking to Culver just the other day about the NBA, and it's not about like making it to the NBA. It's staying in the NBA. It's lasting. And I think with Keenan, it's the same thing. I believe he'll be an NBA player for a long time, even though his entry to the league is a little bit unique because of the injury. I put Zach in that same situation too. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where Zach was a preseason all Big 12 player, one of the top 5 players in the league. Keenan wasn't even on that list about this time last year. And so Zach obviously had an injury too that most people would never overcome. But not only did Zach overcome it, he ended up helping our team. Probably the most valuable player in our team in the month of March was Zach coming back and helping our team. Zach has an NBA opportunity this summer with Atlanta in the Summer League, and then kind of see where his career goes. But I obviously think Zach, too, has a chance to be an NBA player. So, the story of Texas Tech, how do we go from 8th or 9th in the league to 6th in the country? How do we play in the Elite Eight our second year? I mean, you got to have really good players. And we had a lot of really good ones, including those 3 guys I think have a chance to play in the NBA. Z's already obviously there. Equally so proud of like Justin Gray, another guy that I think is the history books tell will end up being one of the all-time greats. Never coached a more unselfish player, and the role he played last year was second to none. Justin is signed with legal representation. He has an agent. He's going through the pro prospect. We got a couple calls this week from NBA teams asking about Justin and where he tries. We're going to play in the Summer League. So Naeem got an agent, is preparing himself for the first step of his career will be overseas. And then Tommy Hamilton, same deal. We all know how talented Tommy is, so I think he'll probably have an NBA entry chance or overseas. We'll kind of see where it goes. But all 5 of our seniors and Z, we're excited and support their quest for professional basketball. And it's just big for our program. When we recruit players, we say, hey, from here, anything's possible. You're going to get your degree if you play for Tech. We're 10 for 10 in our first 2 years. You're going to play on the highest stage. We played for a Big 12 championship. We were 2 baskets away from the Final Four with 4 minutes left against Villanova. we had Big Monday here in college. We can go on the list with recruits. Like you can play the highest level here at Tech. Then ultimately you're going to have a chance to play in the NBA. So the fact that this is happening just validates and only strengthens our recruiting.
So I know you made the big run last year. How do you kind of move forward from that and just make sure that you continue that success?
Well, I think the first thing is just try to realize that the past is the past. Nobody can take that from us, good or bad. But now we move forward. It's each team is different, each season's different, each journey's different. I think we learn from our success and our failures in the past, and we try to put a new spin going forward. I can say this: what's personally kind of exciting for me is that it seems like everybody's expectations are raised now, and I love that because my own personal expectations, the program can't get any higher. I intend to play on a Monday night sometime either sooner than later. But now it's kind of cool with the people around, our fan base, our own players, our staff. It's like, the expectations have been raised. And I think you got to give Keenan and those seniors credit and Z's contribution. It's an exciting time to be here because the expectations, I think, for our program are at an all-time high. Yeah, coaching staff update. Just like Z having a chance to be a one and done, and just like those seniors graduate and have success, are equally proud and just so pleased with the fact that our coaches are getting opportunities. One of the very first things I talked to Kirby about when he came to Vegas to talk about us coming here is I really wanted to try to have the best staff in college basketball, and I wanted his support to try to help our coaches get head coaching jobs. A lot of people in college basketball might have a recruiter in this spot, a tactical coach in this spot. In our deal, it's pretty simple. I want everybody in our program, from our GA to our top assistant, to be a future head coach. And so with Chris Ogden getting the head coaching job at Texas Arlington was a great day for all of us, for our program. And then certainly Al had a chance to better his situation, more family and personal than necessarily basketball, getting closer to his family and Kara's family, and being at a school that has a lot of tradition in Florida. We supported that move for Al. We also had two of our GAs get Division I jobs. Both Denver Cobb and Jared both got D1 jobs. So a lot of movement going on. This is the price of success. Some people said, man, it's hard losing all those people. No, this is what I want. I want our people to be wanted, and this is what success does. So now they're ready to hire even more talented people that can take us to the next level, and we expect some announcements coming very soon on our assistant coaching spot. With our GAs, I can proudly announce today that Ronald Ross, one of the all-time greats here, recently retired from a 15-year pro career, is going to start working on his master's degree. He'll be instrumental. Also really proud that Daryl Dorsch coming back for another year. The transition, losing Al and Augie, Daryl's so close and connected to our players and what we do. It's a big thing keeping Daryl here. I'm really appreciative of him and his family's loyalty to Tech. And then Casey's the same way. So a lot of great things going on with our staff. John Riley and Chris Williams appear to be returning for year 3. So we've got the right guys staying. We've got the right guys moving on. It's great for them and their families. So I think we're excited about the future of our coaching staff.
Coach, I want to go back to Z for a second. Having been in that room, what was the emotion like, especially for Z? He's kind of an even-keeled guy, but one of the biggest moments in his life.
It was typical Z. When I got there, I think the draft started around 7 o'clock, and I probably rolled in around 6:30. And when I got to the table, it was Billy and Andrea and Z's sister, and then Z's agents. And I tried to kind of lighten the mood because it seemed like everybody was kind of not necessarily tense, but not much talking was going on. But that's Zhaire, So it was great to see Z. Gave him a hug. Haven't seen him in a couple weeks. As the picks started going on, we know when it got to 9 or 10, this is where Z had a real chance based on the input and the people that came to Lubbock. And then when it goes on, it starts getting a little bit stressful. But ultimately, we knew he was at least a mid-round, first-round pick, and that's what happened. He looked a lot better dressed than the last time I saw him. I think the NBA money is allowing him to kind of get a different wardrobe than the Under Armour polo. No offense, Under Armour. You know how I roll. But no, he had a nice tailored suit on. Mom looked great. Everybody was happy. It was just, it was a great moment. I said long ago I got into coaching to try to help, dreams come true. I want our players to have their dream life after going to school here and graduate. And for Z, it's happening sooner than later. But again, also bittersweet. Not to take anything away from Z's moment. I was there. I was present. But I was thinking about guys like Keenan and Zach in the back of my mind, just the what ifs if the injury game didn't play. But ultimately, that league's about staying in it. It's not getting in it. It doesn't matter how you get in. It's about staying in it. And I remain confident, that Keenan and Zach are future NBA players.
Kind of talking about the expectations this team has and losing that core group of seniors, whose shoulders is it on now to kind of coach up those young guys and kind of, not technically, but show them this is what we're about, this is the work ethic we need to accomplish the goals that we had last season and accomplished, but now we're not settling there?
It always starts with your seniors. You guys know how big I am with seniors. I think they're the most important part of college basketball. I think there's a direct relationship between the leadership we had last year with those 5 guys and where we ended up playing. So this year will be no different. And, it starts with Norrance, the most experienced player we have on our team, is a senior, trying to put him in his position to have the best year he's ever had. Brandon Francis got a lot of experience last year in our NCAA tournament run. He's going to be a guy we really rely on. You have to help me out here, Matt. We go the grad transfer route to try to stay experienced, to give these guys a chance. I never really believe in rebuilding. I don't understand what that word means. I think every season is different, and you give yourself a chance to win. Some years your path to victory might be a little bit not easier, but a little bit more visible because of your team. Some years it might be really tough, but there's always a way. Just like with every basketball game, there's a way to win every game. I think there's a way to win in every season. So we think one of the things we wanted to do is try to stay experienced. And we did that by getting Matt and Tyreek, 2 guys that have played a lot of basketball that I think will be relative. Both of them should be impact players from day one. Matt's already been here in Lubbock getting started, and Tyreek's actually coming tomorrow to get started. So those 2 guys got to have great senior years. Just like Anthony Livingston did a couple years ago as a grad transfer, was huge for us. What other seniors? 4? Is that right, guys? Matt's been known to make a mistake from time to time.
So, Coach, moving on to Zhaire's NBA career, what do you really know about Philadelphia's system, and do you think that he could play? Do you think that he'll thrive there?
Yeah, I do know a little bit. I'm a huge NBA fan, love basketball. Philadelphia's a defensive team, and they have a culture of improvement. They have their hashtag, whatever, trust the process. Somebody was trying to tell me that was Philly's deal. I thought that was our deal, Z said, I think Z told me, Coach, I think they took it from us. And I just kind of smiled, and I was like, yeah, maybe so, Z. But they're a developmental team. They've taken their young draft choices, and they've turned them into almost all-stars by now. So it's a great place for Z. It's a place that will value his defense. It's a place that I think will give him the time to develop into the player he can be. So it seemed to be a great fit. And obviously they really wanted him. It's just like in recruiting. I tell guys all the time, man, one of the best ways to make a good decision is go where you're most wanted. Most recently, like with Matt, for example, Matt, you got other great options, but nobody wants you or needs you more than we do. I think it's the same thing, kind of that NBA deal. And obviously they wanted him, traded up to get him, draft choice, made another trade at his position. So it appears that they're counting on him playing early in his career.
Did a lot of their scouting staff reach out to you earlier before the draft started?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Given all these players that are leaving now, what all is going to change just with the players you guys have coming up? What are you going to have to change with your spot as a coach to match their talent?
It's a good question. Yeah, I've got to up my game. I've always felt that way as a coach. Just like each player has to improve, each coach has to improve. So this time of year, we're doing the best we can as a coaching staff, trying to get our guys better, but also get ourselves better. And I take that responsibility very seriously. I think just like I told Jared Culver, we got to have a better Culver next year than we had last year, and we got to have a better Coach Adams and myself, and we all got to get better. So that's really what this time of year is about.
I don't know how many spots you have open. I think 1, but is there a specific player at this time that you're looking for, or will you leave that open for a period of time?
Yeah, we're never done recruiting around here. When you're trying to win in the Big 12, you know, you're always actively involved. So we have a roster right now that we're comfortable with and we think has a chance to compete, but we're always looking to strengthen our team, whether that be through immediate recruiting or this summer. We're always going to give ourselves that chance. You know, back to the question about leadership. So it starts with the seniors, but then, you know, Jared Culver, I don't like to call out younger guys and stuff, puts pressure on him. But Culver, he wants it. You know, there's no secret around here. You know, Culver has a chance to be one of the best players in the Big 12 next season. He has a chance to be in the same room Z was last Thursday night. I don't shy away from that. It's one thing to talk the talk, but then you got to back it up, and Culver does that. You know, he works as hard as any player that I've ever coached, and he has a chance to really lead this year, not only through the leadership, but also by simply being one of the best players in this conference and how he approaches each day. So I'd start with those seniors, and then I would quickly get to, you know, Jared Culver's to me, he's an all-conference kind of guy in the Big 12, and we need that to happen sooner than later.
Can you talk about the preparation this summer and what your guys are doing? Is there anything different this year than last year, or is it the same level of intensity or maybe even a little bit more?
I hope more. You know, we're always trying to improve. We've got every guy on our team on campus right now besides Tyreek. He joins us tomorrow, and then he'll be on the court in a couple days when he gets cleared. So that's great, 100% participation in basically voluntary summer workouts. The guys are getting a lot of shots up. They're in the weight room. This is John Riley time of year, as we like to call it. Some other kind of cool things right now is we've got a lot of former players coming back. You know, I said early on, if you guys recall, one of the big focal points in building the program was to try to bridge the gap between the Coach Myers days and the Coach Knight days and the Coach Smith days and get all the players back, and we're doing that. Like this week at camp, we have 4 or 5 former players working. Right now in Lubbock, we probably have close to 10 guys that are back in town. As long ago as like a Charlie Burgess, who's still playing, and as young as like a D. Will back after 2 years. Matt Temple's back. So this summer, I think our current players are benefiting from some of our past players being around, not just because of basketball, but just because of experience, you know, talking to them about what pro basketball is like, what they've had to do to play at the next level. So as we continue to build the program, nothing's more important than our former players. And it's just really personally gratifying to me to see so many guys coming back through Lubbock. And ultimately, this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to win as a family, and we're getting a lot of people back into Lubbock. So it's been really cool.
Anything else for Coach? We've got time for a couple more. Go back to Carlos.
How important was it for Morrow to come back and just kind of get in that strength and conditioning program? Because Coach Riley's been talking about how much muscle he's gained, and same thing with Jarrett. It seems like the strength and conditioning program's helped out both of those guys along with everyone else.
Yeah, starting with Culver, he works as hard as any player I've ever coached. Kind of the documented story of Zhaire's love of the game and his development. I mean, JC was right there with him. And I think it's just a matter of when, not if, Culver gets that same opportunity. He has a lot of pride in the way he goes about not only basketball, but how he handles himself off the court and his academics, and he certainly just embraced the weight room. So I think there's going to be a lot of Red Raider fans that are really pleased when the ball goes up next November and you get your first kind of look at Jared Culver. He's going to look like a kind of a different guy out there. A lot of adversity last year. You know, Culver's coming off the shoulder surgery. Doesn't really even get cleared till halfway through the summer. Really didn't have a true offseason. So really now we're looking at Jared Culver's first true offseason as a basketball player, which is pretty exciting to see how much success he had without one and how much success he could have. So it's big times ahead for Culver. Morrow, just have a lot of respect for him because he made a personal decision. You know, Morrow's on the national team of his country, Italy, and really had a decision to make this summer, go back play for the national team. And he made a decision because of a commitment here at Tech to kind of split the summer. So he's with us all of May, all of June, 1st of July, and then he'll go play for his national team in July, which I'll go see him play, I think in Germany this year. But just Morrow making that commitment to stay here half the summer, I think speaks volumes for where his mind and heart is. You know, he's a big part of this team.
Go to Sean and then to Chuck to wrap it up.
Coach, what have you been doing in the offseason since the draft and the last game, and how are you personally preparing yourself for yet another season?
Did you get a new little tool there, man? It's pretty cool. Is it like a selfie stick? Me personally, just more of the same. Got to get this knee fixed at some point. Doctors are on me pretty hard about it because I know they love me. Thanks, guys. But got a little more important things around here than the knee right now. That's recruiting and getting our guys better. But hoping to do that later in the summer. And of course, the 3 daughters keep me busy. But more than anything, just being around the guys, trying to develop relationships with these younger guys quick as possible. And then our 2 grad transfers. I think the big thing for Matt and Tyreek is to try to get comfortable as quick as they can. And to do that, the relationship's a big part of it. So I've been trying to spend some time with Matt, and certainly tonight or tomorrow when Tyreek gets here, that'll be a focal part of my summer as well.
Just curious if you have an update on the Womble facility, groundbreaking, fundraising, when it all gets started.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's another huge thing in our program right now we're so excited about. I think the money is like almost 100% raised, just trying to tie up some loose ends on that. And then I was told that the announcement could be as early as this summer and then hopefully shovel in the dirt next fall. I don't want to speak for Kirby, but he told me that he confidently thinks this thing's going to take place this calendar year. So that's going to be a game changer for us, not only with our recruiting, but also with our players. We're all about development. And obviously we all have kind of the Zhaire Smith story now, and Keenan and Zach. You see how guys can improve in college, given the right resources and the right people around them.